This will probably be the last exciting video I make for you in 7th grade science, and it has to do with, you guessed it, more graphing practice for the final exam next Thursday. And the first one has to do with looking at how growth hormones affect the development of salmon. The whole idea in growing salmon for aquaculture is to grow them as fast as you can and get them to market. And so the researcher wanted to see what effect does growth hormone has on the growth rate, and they want to try to speed it up as much as they can. And so he set up a situation where some of them got hormone and some didn't get any. So therefore, you really think about it, the independent variable which goes on the x-axis would be the amount of hormone used, because that's what the researcher has control over, whether he's going to give it to the fish or not. And what he's collecting is how fast they grow, and this way it's going to be measured in how many days it takes to get to a certain size, say 12 kilograms in this case, which might be a size where they can market it. So therefore, the days would be the dependent variable going on the y-axis. So what I did is I copied this table and I put it then into a spreadsheet. Not that one, different one. And here's the information, the growth hormones, the same table. And so remember what you do is you highlight the area you want. In this case, I have the charts already open. We don't want pi. You'd think you want line, but actually you want the XY scatter. When I do that, what I should get, try it again, will be a graph showing up. So I'm going to try it one more time. And there you go. And that's pretty much what the graph I want. Now, of course, I can change the axis a bit, and I obviously need to label and put units in. And just to speed things up a little bit, let's close this. I actually did that. And if you go over a little bit, I can do it. Here we go. That's what the graph actually looks like. And you can see that at 0.8 is when it only takes, 150 days or something to get that big. And so that'd probably be the one you want to use there. So that's the one graph, and that's kind of how it would look with a title and a scale. But again, independent variable, x-axis in the case the hormone levels, and here is the mass. Now if we look at the second question, which was about growing caterpillars. So if you ever had caterpillar larvae that you grew in lower school or somewhere, actually a lot of people do this, and they grow them somehow. In the case of caterpillars, especially with milkweeds, they only actually live on milkweed species of plants. So in this situation, the researcher, an entomologist, bug person, someone who studies bugs and insects, is trying to determine which of these milkweed species does the best job in growing the caterpillars. And he gave one group of 50, he put 50 eggs to hatch on milkweed species A and 50 to hatch on milkweed species B, and every 4 days he would collect data. So what you probably want to think about here, and this is actually how much they weighed after a certain amount of time, or I should more say correctly, how much their mass is, that every 4 days he took observations. So therefore the independent variable would be the days, because you actually can control that part. Like, okay, I'm day 0, day 4, day 8, I'm going to take measurements, but you don't know what's going to happen is how big they're going to grow, which would be the mass. So therefore here we'd have days would be the independent variable on the x-axis, and the mass would be the dependent variable on the y-axis. And again, what I did was I made graphs already for this one. Let me just slide over here. Here's the actual data, and just paste it in a table. And once again, I would highlight the areas I want to graph, and I would use the XY scatter graph. When I click on that, I get this graph here, which again needs a little work. It says species A, but if I slide it over wherever I had it here, make it a little smaller, I can find it faster. There we go. This is the graph here that I wanted to focus in on. This is the graph that shows up a lot more detail what we need. So get a little bigger and slide it over here. And you can see, of course, that species A, the milkweed plant, had the caterpillar growing a little bit faster, so probably that'd be the one to do. But again, notice independent axis is the days and dependent axis is there. So hopefully this will help a little bit for both of you that watch this.